Hey, Joey here at Willie Cottage. Excuse the traffic noise, the window's open. Okay, so today I am going to do some LED light, fairy lights, battery operated ones onto art yarn. Now, I have never ever professed to be a professional at spinning. I'm not. I have been spinning for years, about five odd years or something like that. So anything I do on here is new to me. Hence, the explanation. Do not leave comments of you're not doing that right, you're doing this wrong till you think I know, but it's about memory for me. Okay, so a lot of people received my LED lights in the Christmas advent last year, and I have got, and I'll show you at the end, some art yarn packs that I've got listed on the website that come with LED lights. So each LED light is 2 meters long. Okay, these little fairy lights, these are multicoloured ones that I've got. The ones I put in the Christmas advents last year were just plain light ones. They're really lovely to have around the house, everyone knows. And there was a fad last year or the year before to spin your yarn with LED lights and knit up a swatch and use it as a wall ornament. So that's what I plan to do. As I say, I don't profess to be a spinning genius because I'm far from it. Like you lot, it's just practice, and you pick up new skills as you go along. And if I learn new techniques on art yarn, as doing honey bee combs and things like beehives and things like that, or adding flowers to my art yarns and just being a little bit creative, I will always film me doing it once I've figured out how to do it myself. Now, she says, I haven't actually practiced this. This is the yarn that I'm spinning from it, and it's the wool, it's the art bat that I blended up the other week there out of my fibre packs that you watched. So this is what we're going to attempt today. Yeah, we're attempting this today. So please forgive me if I make any mistakes. This is new to me as well. So if I do make any mistakes, then you guys will know where not to make a mistake, okay? And excuse me if I seem to get my words all mixed up or not say it right. I've got a very wobbly tooth that wants to fall out at the front of my mouth, and it's driving me potty, and I can't get into the dentist. So yeah, so excuse me if I sound as if I'm not talking properly sometimes. Maybe I'm just being paranoid, but I've got a really wobbly front tooth thanks to root canal treatment 10 years ago. So this is the wool that we're going to be spinning up. I've been downstairs and got my cone of 100% wool fingering weight or lace weight. It's really small and skinny, but it's strong enough to withstand spinning in and just any extra tension if I could just find the flaming beginning of it. So that's what we're going to do. Oh, I'll just push. I've got Freya out, my double treadle, because I always do my art yarn spinning on her, mainly because Morgana's not got an art yarn flyer, which I need to get at some point. Do you like my flowers? Out of my own garden. So my intention is to use 2 of these, but I have got 3 of them. So bear with me a second. When you get LED lights, they usually come all wrapped up like that. Now, I have watched a couple of videos, and it has been suggested that you wrap them around a little card so that it should just really just swizzle around, she says, and then you shouldn't get in a tangle. So it should, as you're spinning it, sort of sit balanced on the card. Here's hoping. It could all go so wrong, girls, but bear with me. I'm up for a challenge like the rest of you, so that's what we're going to do today. I have wound 3 around a business card, and if you've got any of my art bats, use ladies, the ingredients are on backs of the art bat on the business card inside your art bats. So that's where you can just pinch one of those and wrap your cable around it. I'm just trying to loosen off the tension. I'll put this on the floor. Loosen off the tension of my... Why? Do you know? That's just a menace. Just take this other bobbin out. I am so not organised. I don't know what's gone on with me today. It doesn't want to pull. Right, let's try it that way. Oh, there we go. It's going in the opposite direction. There we go. So I just grab my my yarn and then get them to meet together onto my leader on my bobbin. So I'll just point you down and we'll get this going. Let's see if I've got my tension right. So I want to go the opposite direction, and I've not got the right shoes on for spinning today. I've got my flipping boots on. I've been out walking the dogs. So I'm just going to get started on this, and I'm just coming down at a slight angle lower than my orifice, and that's how I'm just going to start like this now. Now this, you'll see a colour fade going through this yarn, as you've seen when I was stripping it down into one big long braid last week on my video. So I'm at a roughly about a 20-degree angle from the orifice, and I'm trying to do a 90-degree right angle onto my yarn, and just keeping a gentle pace. The tension's not too bad on my Scotch tension, and I will add the first set of wires in a minute. So here's hoping that we get it right, ladies. So I'll just get a bit more. I want enough to be able to do a couple of rows first before I add any lights in, and I have got some chunky needles which I shall show you in a bit once we've got this. And just let your yarn sit on the top of your finger like that, and it just helps guide it all the way through and not come down at some sort of funny wonky angle. It just helps sit that above your finger. Nice pops of green coming out there as well. Okay, so I'll have a look in a minute to see how much yarn I've got to get going. I think that might be enough. Right, so I'm just going to stop my wheel. My first light. Oh dear. Right, so I'm just going to wrap that around there. Okay, it's wrapped. Unravel it a little bit so I've got a bit of length, and maybe a bit of stopping and starting, but let's see how we go. Oh, I can feel the the LED light is bending, but I'm going to have to drag it through a little, I think. Because it's obviously got no self-motion. It's in the sense it's a wire that I'm spinning on. So I will have to pull it through a little. Right, why have I got tangled? Now I've got tangled up in my plying yarn. And the whole hope was that I wouldn't. Hopefully on the second one I should be able to suss it. Oh, bear with me a second. Okay, so I'm just gonna gently spin that down this yarn. I just hope that the LED lights will shine through, because a lot of the yarn's covering it over. So I'm just going to pull it through. We're nearly at the end of this one. As I say, I do have 3 that I've wound up on cards. So I might add 3 in because I've got quite a bit of yarn to spin up. Oh, we've got a tangle. I've got a wire tangle, so just unravel that a tiny bit. Where have we got ravelled up? There we go. And pull that through. Because of the wire. There we go, a little tiny shove seems to be doing the job to get the yarn to spin through. Oh, on a sec, there we go. Okay, here comes the complicated bit. Now, the videos I've watched of people doing art yarn with the lights, fairy lights, they've had electric. I'm using a battery, so I'm gonna have to just ever so carefully, sorry the hands, just get that going in there, and then I'll have to manipulate the actual battery pack through the yarn, through the orifice holders. So I think what I'll do is I'll come down as far as I can. Right, that's as far as I can go, really, and then bring this battery through here. It is fiddly, ladies, but once we get onto the second and third one, I'll know exactly what it is that I need to do. And then through these ones here, because I've got quite large orifice, and on the flyers, the holes in there. Can you see where I've had to put it through? Just swing that around, and there we go. So hopefully, if I lie it straight, there it's hanging off now, the yarn should hold that in place as it's spinning through. And we'll put, there we go, that's trapped in there now. I shall spin some more yarn off, and that'll keep that battery in place without causing any problems. And I will just get this pulled through. I've got a big beehive one there. I'll just turn you around a little bit. Do a few more. Okay, so here's go with the second time. Let's see if we can get this any better this time. Okay, so I'm just gonna wrap that cable around the yarn, and I'm wondering this time whether to maybe use the actual art yarn itself to wrap it around. So we'll have a go at this way and see if it makes any difference. No, it won't. It doesn't want to do it at all. So I'm trying to let it just hang, but if I let it hang, then it just tumbles on top of each other. So that's not going to work. So if I just make it a little bit looser, and then I should be able to see the wires and the lights through on this second section. See, because it's wire, this is where the problem is lying, I think, but it does straighten itself out as you go along. So I'm just going to pull this through a little bit more, and maybe even tighten up my tension a little bit. I don't want to do my tension too tight because it just makes my wool overspin, but I'm just doing a looser coil around this part of the yarn. Let's stop that and pull that through. Pull it through. And pull that through. Oh. Can you see I've done it a lot looser instead of doing so close like a coil like I was doing the first time round. That way I should be able to see, and because it's on the little battery, I can let it just spin around the actual yarn instead of getting tangled up. There we go. Just pull these forward. This has got stuck. How have we ended up with a double? Hold on a second. Let's come through my loop there. I think the next test we'll do is do it on a set of Christmas lights I've got downstairs in my studio. And just go through like that. Let the wool wrap around, and then there we go. So just try and pull this through again. Straighten this wire out. Definitely need to do another test, ladies, to see whether LED lights would be better. Okay, that's as far as I can go. Pull the battery through. Oh, stuck in there. Right, twist it around so it tucks under the yarn, and then it shouldn't flip. Oh, oh, right, so we're having a bit of a disaster. I'm just going to tuck that underneath. There we go. So, is LED lights the best way to go with the wire? At the moment, I'm not going to make that conclusion until I definitely try Christmas lights on an art yarn and see if that makes any difference for a comparison. Personally, I would say probably yes, and I'll have to go and hunt some out in the nearest budget shop and see if I can find some LED lights on an elastic, not an elastic, on a plastic cable, like a plug-in cable, and not the battery operated little wire ones. Because of the wire, is definitely causing a bit of friction, but if you take your time, it can be done. It just takes a little bit of fiddling around, and when you get to putting the wire on your art yarn, let it run down your plying yarn and ply them both at the same time. Just make sure that your yarn's more spiraled than it is coiled on top of each other like this. So I just want to go back up there a bit. There we go. There's a really skinny piece of yarn then. I've got loads of this to get on with, so I shall fast forward this section and see you when I put on the third one. So as you can see, I'm doing chunky knitting with my wires in there. A lot easier to do that than it was to just actually spin it all up. So I'll just get on with this. I've got this other half a bobbin to use up, and I found that when I was knitting along, I've got 2 LED lights on there at the moment, but by the time the other section came on, it would have overlapped the first lot of lights. So because this is only going to go on the wall and it's not being used for anything else, I actually halfway back, just before the new switch of lights came on, I just reversed back halfway through the row, and I've ended up with one side's got 1 row extra and the other side's got 1 row less. Not a big problem. At the end of the day, it's only for my wall that this is going on. I tell you what, knitting with chunky 25mm needles is really hard, especially when you've got little hands like me. I mean, literally the diameter of these needles is my punch grip anyway, so there's really not, I've got to grip onto them really hard to feel confident enough to stitch the next one. Really difficult, but fun. So I just should be coming up to another light section in a bit, I would say. And this is getting darker now on this one. Oh, come on. Try and get that in there. I'm just trying to really loose. I'm using my finger when I wrap around just to give me an extra bit of section. So it's not tight on each stitch and they're just moving really nicely. Again, just keep going through until it's done. And I will just do the rest of this as a time lapse. And I'll see you on the other side. So there you go. Turn it around. Art yarn knitting on jumbo needles. Okay, so I've just got to figure out a way of mounting them on the wall so that they're done. There's the backs. I've made sure that the batteries were in there. And there we have it. Was it an easy challenge? No. It was by far easy. I would definitely have another go using plug-in lights, because the cable on the electric lights is a lot more forgiving. The wire on the LED lights, not to say that you can't do it, because you can, but I would advise you to do that more spiral spun around your core and the wire when you're spinning it. You can't tell the difference once it's knitted up anyway, especially if the rest of the yarn's all lumpy and bumpy with lots of coils, or even textured ribbons, that sort of thing in there. What else would I change? Try knitting in the wire cable. Once you started knitting with the wire cable, it's a little bit stiff, but it's not a problem at all. I think the hardest part was trying to find your rhythm with your spinning, because you've got this resistance from the metal on the wire for the LED lights, in comparison to the softness and the give of the yarn. Definitely an issue. I will try it again. I will do a second part of this video to see if it makes any difference to the way that it's spun up if it's done on a different type of fairy light system. I'll definitely do it again. It's not for the faint of heart. You have got to have patience. You can see in the video, it was getting a little bit frustrating at times. I've never seen anybody do any art yarn spinning with the wire LED lights, but I have seen someone do it with the electric or the softer cable, the actual lights on a string, not on a wire, and that is the Tiny Fibre Studio. I've seen her doing it, and she makes it look so easy. It's not. What else should I change differently? If you want to use chunky needles, I've got bad shoulders and a bad back, and I can feel it straining on me. So if you're going to do it, just take your time doing it and sitting on your lap. I'm sat on a table and chair, and it was a little bit difficult. I could feel it pulling in my back, and that is heavy. I mean, that's 160 grams of fibre with some big chunky needles that weigh about, I'd say about 100 grams, nearly 100 grams between them. And then you've got the LED lights in there with the batteries, so they've got a little bit of weight to them as well. So it probably works out about 250 grams thereabouts of fibre that you're actually knitting together. But yeah, give it a go. Give it a go. Message me, tell me how it went for you. So I do have these in packs. Let me just see if I can find one with an LED. There we go. So I do have these blended roving fibre packs. And there's the battery with the fairy lights and the BFL curls and textured ribbons. So they're currently on the website as well. That is Shetland with Tussar Silk on this one. So I do have a couple of these still available on the website in hand-dyed rovings with my hand-dyed locks in a complimentary colourway and a complimentary set of textured ribbons. They look really great together. So yeah, go on and have a go. I get my LED lights from Amazon. You can get them in any supermarket shops. Just so happened that I like to buy them in bulk because it's just easier for me, and I can't always get out. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of patience were required in the making of this video. Please hit that thumbs up and subscribe below. Any comments or suggestions for any future content, drop a comment below and I will get back to you as soon as I see it. Take care of yourselves. Until next time, behave. Bye bye.